My name is Shirley, also known as Nailah. I am a project manager by day and a yoga instructor every day. I first started yoga many years ago. I didn't like it. It was too slow. I didn't understand the concept. But as I got older, I had a couple of injuries. I also wanted to work on my breath and work on my alignment. So I was interested and I started to practice yoga and have it as my own personal practice. But the first yoga school that I went to was Hatha Yoga, which is an Indian practice, and that has poses like upward dog. It also uses a Sanskrit language, so all the poses are called asanas. So that was brilliant. It was really nice. I met some beautiful people. It was a really, really lovely experience. But what I didn't realise at the time is that yoga actually started in Africa. It started with our people. So my thinking was actually, if we are the beginning of the start of civilization, then there must have been some kind of exercise or some kind of yoga that was done in those ancient times. I then found a master teacher called Yasir Hotep, and he had been to Egypt with a colleague of his and looked on the Egyptian walls and seen all these yoga moves. So he then appropriated it and called it kinetic yoga, which is also a form of yoga that I practice. So to me, yoga encapsulates every type of practice. There's multiple, there's Ashtanga, there's Yin yoga, there's Yang yoga, there's kinetic yoga, there's Hatha yoga. For me, it is one and the same as long as the tenets are the same, i.e. we work with the breath. Some are more energetic than others. Some are more restorative yoga, so they're slower and they're for people that are not necessarily as agile or flexible. So yoga encompasses everybody. The kinetic yoga looks at your alignment. It looks at geometric progression, which is you start at the place where you're at and you move on as you master one pose, you move on to another advanced pose. So it's very slow, it's very meditative. But for me, kinetic yoga, because it has a history, it goes right back to ancient history in ancient Egypt. It also has a philosophy behind it. It has principles and laws. So we talk about Shu, which is breath, life force. In China they call it Chi, in India they call it Prana. So like I say, it's all very similar. The breath is really, really important to yoga because it is a life force. It's all about the energy going through your bodies. You use it as a self-healing mechanism. As you breathe, you're energizing yourself. As you breathe out, you're breathing out all your anxiety. As you breathe in, you're breathing in love. You're breathing in all the good things. So for me, yoga really has changed my life actually in terms of the movement, in terms of the breath. If I ever get anxious, I breathe. It's about long inhalations and long exhalations. So what happens is when I'm sitting here now and I'm breathing, I'm not actually aware of the fact that I'm breathing. In yoga, you are very aware that you're breathing. It's conscious breathing. You're slowing down your heart rate. you're using the breath to move into different postures. So when I'm teaching, I'm constantly cueing, inhale, exhale. I'm trying to get people to think and be aware about their breath. Think and be aware about the movements. Think and be aware about the connection of the breath and the synchronization of the movements. There's a mental element of it, and there's a physical element of it. So what I like is when any of the students or the participants that come in, they completely focus on themselves. They focus on their physicality, they focus on their mind, and they focus mostly on their breath. So in any yoga class, if you go to, actually, you'll see that the teacher will normally, or the instructor will normally cue the breath. I probably do it, I do it a lot because I recognise, and I use myself as an example. I sometimes forget, so I always cue everybody and make sure that they are synchronising the breath and the movement. One of the things that I also realised when I went to Jamaica and did the course with Sarah was that there aren't many men that do yoga. Hence, I started a movement called mini motion yoga, because I really wanted to see that my father, my uncles, my brothers, men basically are men folk. A lot of them are athletic, but they're not necessarily flexible. They don't understand about moving with the breath. So 2019, I'm also part of the cycling club, Ride Fest. So I started with the cycling club. I just put an ad WhatsApp out in the Ride Fest WhatsApp, and I said, look, why don't you come to yoga class? And I invited my brothers, invited all my friends, and we had a really, really good session. I worked with another male yoga teacher called Ryan, who also talks about nutrition. Because that's the other thing. Kinetic yoga also incorporates nutrition. It's not just about the movement, it's also about what you put in your body, what you consume. So we did that session. It was really, really successful. I had a room full of brothers, just all moving the same, all having that same, all energy in the room. And as a female, I think we do need to encourage our brothers, encourage the men folk to practice yoga. It's seen as a very female, very feminine practice or very feminine activity, and actually it's not. There are definitely physical elements. For those of you who are concerned about the chanting that sometimes some instructors perform in their classes, kinetic yoga is not affiliated to any kind of religion. In fact, yoga itself is not really related to any kind of religion. The chanting that I normally see in the classes is Om, and Om is a universal vibrational sound. Some do chant in that language that I was talking about, Sanskrit, but it isn't affiliated with any kind of religion. It's just something that will either, it's like a mantra. It will either talk about something to do with your inner self or something to do with you to aspire to. However, there are yoga teachers and instructors that don't do any kind of chanting at all. You could go to a yoga class, you don't have to chant. You can just do the class and not chant. What you're really thinking about is the breath work and the physical aspects of the yoga class. So I wouldn't let it stop you. So for me, what I'm going to be working on for 2021 and beyond is I'm trying to grow the Men in Motion movement. My Insta is MIN Yoga. I also have another sort of movement or organisation called Relax and Rejuvenate. The Insta is relax_rejuvenate. With that, I work with different partners, and I do retreats to Gambia, I do retreats to Italy, I'm working with different people. I'm trying to, with the Gambia retreat, I try to involve some kind of arts with it as well, so it's not just yoga. I did that because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a yoga retreat, it was going to, I'm trying to attract people that are interested in different things as well as yoga. The retreat in Italy, that is a yoga retreat, but we also do trips out to different places. So because of what's going on in the world right now, I'll also be working on different retreats, probably day or weekend retreats, actually in the UK or perhaps in Europe as well. So watch this space.